All right, my friend. Let's talk round one. What a night, right? Day one of the 2025 NFL Draft brought all the drama we expected and maybe even a few surprises we didn't. Now, if you're a true red and gold faithful, you were probably glued to the screen just like I was. The Kansas City Chiefs came in holding pick number 31, but Brett Veach had other plans. Instead of staying put, the Chiefs traded down one spot and selected offensive tackle Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Smart move, risky play, let's break it down. Simmons is raw, no doubt, but he's got the kind of athletic ceiling that coaches dream about molding. Standing at 6.6 with nimble feet and a mean streak in the run game, he's the type of lineman that fits perfectly into Andy Reid's long-term plans. The pick caught some fans off guard, especially with other names still on the board. But Simmons has that mix of power and upside that Veach loves. Speaking of those other names, man, we were this close to grabbing some serious talent. Kelvin Banks, the versatile left tackle from Texas, got snatched up just before us. Maxwell Hairston, a corner many had going earlier, also went right before KC was on the clock. And Josh Connerly Jr., another offensive tackle option with great hands, was still in reach when the Chiefs traded down. That stings a bit, doesn't it? But let's look ahead. Drafting Simmons was a signal. It told us the Chiefs are thinking beyond just this season. They've shored up the edge of the offensive line, which frees them to attack other needs, like defensive line depth, tight end succession, and wide receiver playmaking, over the next couple rounds. And hey, if you were pumped during round one and want to ride this roller coaster all the way through day three, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're charging toward 4,000 subscribers. And you, yes, you, are a key part of that journey. Okay, let's talk about the second day of the draft, where champions are built. While round one is where the spotlight shines brightest, day two is where smart front offices like the Chiefs make their money. And guess what? There's still a lot of value sitting there, just waiting to be picked. Let's start with some big names who unexpectedly slipped. Shedeur Sanders, the high-profile quarterback from Colorado, still available. Now sure, the Chiefs aren't in the QB market, but this just shows how much talent is falling into round two. Sanders staying on the board could create a domino effect that pushes other position players right into Kansas City's lap. Then there's Mike Green, the edge rusher from Wake Forest. Explosive off the line, high motor, and a great scheme fit for Spags. He's the type of guy who could instantly boost that defensive rotation. And don't sleep on Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan. Solid size, quick instincts, and tons of versatility. He might be too good to pass up if he drops to the third. Now let's zero in on what matters most. Pick the Record 63. This is where things get juicy. At that spot, the Chiefs are looking at a draft board that could line up beautifully with some of our biggest needs: defensive tackle, tight end, and wide receiver. There's depth at WR still hanging around, including guys who thrive in the slot, perfect to complement the deep threats we already have. On the tight end front, there are a few raw athletes who could develop under Kelsey's wing, if KC is thinking succession plan. And in the trenches, there's still firepower available to reinforce the D-line rotation, which will be key late in the season. Now, I've got a question for you. If you were sitting in Brett Veach's chair right now, who would you pick at number 63? Drop your pick down in the comments and tell me why. Let's get a real war room going in there. And remember, we're just getting started. If you thought round one was wild, day two is where the real draft nerds shine. Stick with me, because up next, we're unveiling the Total Chiefs mock draft for picks 63, 66, and 95. And you're gonna want to see this. All right, we're here. The mock draft everyone's been waiting for. Let's break down what could happen with the Chiefs' picks on day two, and I think you'll like what's coming. Pick 63, Omar Norman-Lott, defensive tackle, Tennessee first up. We've got a guy who could be a game changer for the Chiefs, Omar Norman-Lott. The defensive tackle from Tennessee is an explosive disruptor who could come in and help rotate with Chris Jones right away. He's got the burst and, length to make an impact on passing downs, and he's great at collapsing the pocket. What's even more exciting is the comparison to James Pierce Jr., another defensive lineman, but Norman Lott was even more productive in college. His numbers last year? Solid. 4 sacks, 27 pressures, and 18 tackles. He's exactly the type of player the Chiefs need to fortify that D-line depth, especially as Jones enters the later stages of his career. So here's the deal. What do you think? Should the Chiefs draft Omar? Norman Lott? Type D for draft or P for pass in the comments. I want to know where you stand on this. Pick 66, Elijah Arroyo, tight end, Miami next. Let's talk about a position that's on every Chiefs fan's mind, tight end. With Travis Kelce not getting any younger and Noah Gray and Jared White dealing with their own uncertainties, it might be time to think about the future of the position. Enter Elijah Arroyo from Miami. Now, Arroyo is no slouch. He's got a great athletic profile. He can stretch the field, he's got solid hands, and his ability to be a threat downfield is exactly what you want in a tight end. Sure, he's a bit raw as a blocker, but his upside is undeniable. Imagine Arroyo growing under Kelce's mentorship, becoming the next big weapon for Patrick Mahomes. This could be the heir apparent to Kelce, even though we know it'll be a tall order to fill those shoes. So, here's the question. Do you think Arroyo could be the next Kelce? Type Y for yes or N for no in the comments, and tell me why you think he'd fit into the Chiefs' offense. Pick 95, Xavier Restrepo, wide receiver, Miami last, but certainly not least, Xavier Restrepo, the slot receiver from Miami. This guy is tough, reliable, and a natural playmaker. With 69 catches, over 1,000 yards, and 11 touchdowns last season, Restrepo is the type of receiver who doesn't always get the attention for his size, but makes plays when it counts. He's similar to Julian Edelman, with his dependability and ability to fight for contested catches. Plus, he can play both inside and outside, which makes him a versatile piece for the Chiefs' offense. Yes, he's not the fastest guy out there, his 40-yard dash is far from flashy, but what he lacks in speed, he more than makes up for with his instincts and competitive nature. In Andy Reid's offense, Restrepo could thrive, especially with Mahomes delivering the ball to him. Here's the question. Is Restrepo the next slot dynamo for the Chiefs? Let me know by typing Y for yes or N. For no in the comments. All right, Chiefs Kingdom. How are we feeling about these picks so far? If you're liking this mock draft, smash that like button and share this video with your Chiefs-loving friends. Let's get this community even stronger as we head into the final picks. 4-0 Mini. Você disse, CCO ChatGPT DC, Chapter 4. Projecting immediate and long-term impact. Approx 350 words. Now that we've got the picks laid out, let's talk about how these guys will fit into the Chiefs roster, both in the short term and moving forward. Will they have an instant impact, or is there more of a development period ahead? Omar Norman Lott, DT. Right off the bat, Omar Norman Lott could come in and make an impact right away. With the Chiefs having some question marks on the defensive line, besides the obvious anchor that is Chris Jones, Norman Lott gives them a physical presence. He'll likely be brought in as part of a rotation, helping to keep fresh legs on the field, particularly in passing situations. Think of him as a potential disruptor who could make a significant splash early, especially with the Chiefs' aggressive defensive schemes. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. He may take a bit of time to truly adjust to the NFL pace. Still, as a developmental project, his upside is huge. He could contribute to the Chiefs' defensive depth and become a fixture in their long-term plans. Elijah Arroyo, TE. Now, Elijah Arroyo, he might not be an immediate starter, but his potential as a future star makes him intriguing. The Chiefs have Travis Kelce, who's one of the best ever, but Arroyo could take over some of the workload in a few years, possibly even next season. We've seen tight ends take time to develop in Reid's system, and Arroyo could be no different. The Chiefs will likely ease him in, using him in certain packages while Kelsey is still around to mentor him. The long-term potential is there. Arroyo could eventually become a primary weapon for Mahomes, and with his skill set, he might even end up being one of the most exciting prospects to watch develop. Xavier Restrepo, WR. Finally, we have Xavier Restrepo, who may be the most ready to contribute from day one. The Chiefs have a dynamic receiving core, but adding a reliable slot receiver could be key. Restrepo is already skilled at reading defenses and could step in immediately as a reliable option in Mahomes' system, where quick, sharp routes matter. Over time, he could develop into a starter and be a consistent contributor on third downs. The beauty of a player like Restrepo is that he doesn't need to be the guy right away. He can slowly carve out a role while continuing to develop into a solid, dependable receiver. Okay, Chiefs Kingdom. Who's your pick out of these three? Who do you think will make the biggest impact this season? Drop a comment below. Norman Lott, Arroyo, or Restrepo? Which name gets you most excited? Let's talk about it. All right, Chiefs Kingdom, we've broken down the picks. We've looked at how these guys might fit into the roster, but what's next for us? The 2025 NFL Draft is far from over, and we've still got plenty to discuss, especially when it comes to the live coverage happening on our channel. Make sure to join us live for Day 2 of the draft, where we'll be covering every single pick as it happens, breaking down what's going on with the Chiefs' selections, and giving you our take on how these choices can shape the team. There will be giveaways, live reactions, and even super chats, where you can send in your questions or thoughts about the draft picks. We want you to be a part of the conversation. And hey, don't forget to interact with us. Throughout the coverage, we'll be asking for your opinions. Who do you want the Chiefs to pick next? Who are you rooting for? This is your chance to get your voice heard. We're all about building up this community, and we want you to be a part of it. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell, and get ready for a whole weekend of action-packed draft coverage. We're closing in on 4,000 subscribers, and you're a key part of helping us hit that goal. Your support means everything, and we couldn't do this without you. Before we wrap it up, I've got one more question for you. Want to see your thoughts featured in the live stream? Drop a comment now, and be sure to join us for the action later. Chiefs Kingdom, it's about to get real exciting, so don't miss a moment. As always, thanks for being here. Stay tuned for more. Total Chiefs is just getting started. And remember, red and gold forever. Let's do this, Kingdom.